book, 10 Years in the Making, that looks at how some of the country's major universities, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, Rutgers, Williams, the University of North Carolina, to name just a few, are drenched in sweat and sometimes the blood of Africans brought here as slaves. The book is called Ebony and Ivy, Race, Slavery, and the Troubled History of America's Universities. In it, MIT history professor Craig Stephen Wilder reveals how the slave economy and higher education grew up together. He writes, the American campus stood as a silent monument to slavery. Well, this history is silent no more. Professor Craig Stephen Wilder joins us here in New York. Welcome to Democracy Now!
Thank you very much.
So, talk about America's most elite universities. What relation do they have to slavery?
I think there are multiple relationships. The first and probably most poignant, most provocative, is the relationship to the slave trade itself. In the middle of the 18th century, from 1746 to 1769, fewer than 25 years, less than a quarter century, the number of colleges in the British colonies triples from 3 to 9. The original 3 were Harvard, Yale, and William and Mary, and all of a sudden there were 9 by 1769. And it triples in that 25-year period. That 25-year period actually coincides with the height of the slave trade. It's precisely the rise and the elaboration of the Atlantic economy based on the African slave trade that allows for this sort of fantastic articulation of a new growth of the institutional infrastructure of the colony.
So let's talk specifically about particular universities. I mean, you do look at some universities in the South, but also in the deep North.
Yeah.
Harvard.
It's a very northern story, actually. You know, when you think about the colonial world, until the American Revolution, there's actually only one college in the South, William and Mary. There are a couple of other attempts, but they fail. The other 8 colleges are all northern schools, and they're actually located in key sites for the most part of the merchant economy, and where the slave traders had sort of come to power and rose as the sort of financial and intellectual backers of the new culture of the colonies.
So talk about Harvard.
Sure. Harvard, actually, from its very beginnings in 1636, the college by 1638 actually has an enslaved man living on campus who's referred to as the Moor.
The Moor.
The Moor. And that actually is directly related to 2 slave trades. I imagine is how he gets to Cambridge. One is right after the Pequot War, the war in which the Puritans defeat the Indians of southern Connecticut.